live, baby. Just give it a few more minutes, folks. We will be ready to rock. I have a awesome watch list coming up here. If you're just joining us, you're watching this at a later time, welcome to the show. What is going on, guys? We are here for another weekly meeting. I am so pumped to be here. I hope you are too. While we wait for everybody to join up, let me hit you with another beautiful intro. All right, first and foremost, I just want to say thank you for everybody who has been with me for the longest time now, and for everybody that continues to show up to show their support. I appreciate each and every one of you, especially you, Dan, Bob, Dan. You already know that. Just pumped that everybody can be here and that we are blessed to have an awesome day like today where we can share some time, share some space, and share some of our energy, because I know a lot of you are out there working your butts off, creating your own watch list, and you are ready and willing to share your thoughts. I have a beautiful watch list for you. I was talking to some of you guys in the background. We were sharing information back and forth, and I love seeing that we all kind of are looking for those momentum stocks. And sure enough, the same watch list that you're looking at, I'm looking at too. And we've seen that through multiple times where we are all learning to be momentum traders, and then we are all looking for those right stocks. We find the right stocks, and it kind of just ends up leading to a very tight niche, which is great. So what I have on my watch list is what you guys have on some of your watch lists. But if you're new to this channel, consider trying to understand exactly what we are trying to figure out, and that is how to be a swing trader, how to play these momentum swings to the north side. That's why we have those meetings, because we want to learn. We want to understand first the market sentiment. We want to know which way the market is quite possibly heading. We have to have areas where we are risk on and areas where we are risk off. And when we are in risk on scenarios, we are going to look for those momentum stocks that are doing better against an S&P 500 on the relative strength index. We look for faster movers that are higher than 4%, but I've been looking for a little bit more volatile, faster movers lately. But regardless, that is what we are here doing today. So if you guys have anything that you like or you enjoy about this style, go ahead and leave a like and hit that subscribe button. And of course, more later on if you would like to join our free Discord community. So what's going on, guys? It's good to see you. Yosef, good to see you in the chat. Dan, Bob, Erica's in the building. Let's get it. I know what you guys are here for, and I don't want to waste your time, not even for a second. The S&P 500, if we take a peeky gander, you guys remember this line that I drew out right here. What is that? Well, because it's above it and it's been at this price action area so much, this is the area of now support. And you can see, and I spoke about this just a few days ago in our Discord, our free Discord, that this came back down, and it was very cool that an area of support is also our 21-day moving average. Okay? There is correlation there. So not only are we playing in an area of support, what we're playing in an area of the 21-day moving average that I've told you guys before. When we sustain after a breakout, it usually acts as support for quite the time. This is the moving average that I currently use on the S&P 500, and I'm sure you guys have all heard it before, but I need to preach it because it's great for long term, and it's great to really hone in on where these momentum breakouts lay. And as you guys know, it's usually after we turn around and start getting into these 21-day moving averages. This is broke down, and we are getting in and through all of this. Okay, so this is great. This looks really great, and I sound really bullish because I am. You know, this beautiful bounce off of a 21-day moving average, it just looks just like everything else we have seen in history. So therefore, I am risk on because we're still above a 21-day moving average, not to mention the biggest area of support that the S&P 500 has currently, in my opinion, at 564. Okay, now I'm going to run through these because you're going to see, because we're risk on, you're going to see a lot of things that are above that 21, above that 50. What's going on, Jolene? I'm glad you popped in here. Good to see you. You're going to see that, you know, the VIX is down, that the indexes are up, and we are risk on. So we kind of want to get into the meat of things, but we want to always look through and kind of, even if we're skimming, just to have a general idea of where the market's at. So that way, when we're taking a trade, we have more than one reason that can back up a reason for taking a trade. The S&P 500 is above a 21-day moving average, and it's holding up very nicely. After a huge push-up like this, these pullbacks are not just necessary, but they are healthy for the S&P 500 to continue higher. The NASDAQ is looking quite similar, although it is not in the all-time highs. Here, it's still very constructive after a big pullback with this Japanese carry trade, and it looks like it's moving relatively well higher. QQQ, this is the Tech Giants ETF. This looks very similar to the NASDAQ, which there is correlation there because there are a few companies that work the same. And remember this area, remember this pattern, because I'm going to bring this pattern up to you guys very, very soon. And if you guys know what pattern I'm talking about when I point this out to you, just put it in the chat. What ticker symbol looks very similar to this? Okay. We will only take 5-star trades in this group, David. I love it, Jolene. I love it. And you know what? I have a 5-star trade. I have what I'm going to consider a 5-star trade on my watch list, Jolene. And I'm very excited to share. I'm very excited to see what you guys think because I've had 5-star shares trades before. And I've had some people say, hey, well, what about this? Or hey, what about that? And then so, you know, I got to bring it down a little bit. So I like the constructive criticism, and we're going to bring you a 5-star trade. I'm going to show you exactly what I think one looks like, and then you guys can judge it depending on the other ones that I have in my category, because I have a small list of them going. So we also have the Dow Jones Industrial, which is very cool because this is your grandfather's ETF. It's your biggest old boats, okay? And this thing is just doing really, really well. I mean, new all-time highs just last week, holding a 10-day moving average. And it's very, very strong. So it's looking very good. What's up, Roberto? Roberto Tainch. What's going on, man? It's good to see you. I'm glad to see you in here, brother. Next up is the small cap stock. So the small cap still is lagging like small caps like to do. You can see we are still at this big area, 232.98. We'll just call it 233. Big area of overhead resistance. I love seeing all that love in the chat. Thank you so much, guys. You're awesome. This thing looks like it could break out. this also looks like another one that is very, very similar. So let me just get through Bitcoin, and I'll show the similarities between the IWM and the similarities between QQQ with some of the Mag 7 stocks. So if you don't know what I'm talking about yet, I'll give away the answer very, very soon. So look at this Bitcoin. Okay, I'm starting to see some correlation when I went through our watch list that we put out there for you. I've seen a little correlation with Bitcoin and how it's trading because it's creating new higher lows right here currently. So there is some hope that it has the ability to break out of this channel to the downside here. Okay, now let's see this. So here is the QQQ. If you see this structure here, the structure that I was considering, that I was considering this looks very actionable or alike is NVIDIA. Look at NVIDIA here. What I like about NVIDIA a little bit more is that it's got way better structure. But of course, NVIDIA is a huge asset to ETF QQQ. So they are going to look very similar. But if you want to look at a very beautiful flag pattern here, this is what we're looking at. I have an alert set on my Thinkorswim, because that's my brokerage currently, at 125. So if this breaks at 125 and I see volume, I'm going to be keeping a very close eye on NVIDIA, and I think you should too. So even though it's a Mag 7 stock and it only moves 3.78%, you want to know what's going on with semi-stocks. You can find faster semi-stocks if you want, but NVIDIA is the leader, okay? And yeah, I'm glad you agree with me, Jolene, because this, personally, if I wanted to see this thing look more like a 5-star, I guess in a sense, because when you start trailing sideways for this long, you kind of just undermine these moving averages, and we just look at the pattern, okay? The faster movers, they're going to hold some of these moving averages, right? But these bigger boats, these slow digested moving stocks, they need more time, and with more time comes longer consolidation. And if we look at this and we just use this paintbrush, you can see it's filling in all these gaps. Now, it could very, very easily break up and get out of this area, say, tomorrow. Okay, and if I see a lot of volume, I might want to take my chances because there's good risk to reward here on this breakout. But what I think I would love to see out of NVIDIA is if it were to come back down here and get a little tighter like this. That's what I would like to see. Now, is the stock gods going to give it to me? Probably not. But I think that would be best case scenario. Now, we'll see. We'll see what happens with NVIDIA. If it breaks out of this area, I'm going to be known. I'm going to be alerted to it. If it comes down and bounces off this area here, and we see volume, this might be an early entry area, and then you could take the breakout on the rest using, a lower or a deeper stop. That's just an idea. It's just an idea. And these are my thoughts, not yours. So make sure you create your own ideas and understand the risk management when taking a trade. Now we have Google here, which Google has been pretty beaten down, but it's finally riding a 10-day moving average. So it's very interesting to see what is going to happen with Google because it is a giant and it's constantly being bombarded. I don't know. I'll make up words if I have to. It's my show. but it's been barraged constantly with claims that it's too big. It's too big for its britches, and it needs to get rid of its monopoly, right? And then, of course, we have my favorite. We have a few other ones we're going to go over, but this is in the line, and that is Meta. I've been telling you guys about Meta that it's been looking like a true leader, and this is exactly how a true leader should perform. Okay, you got all Mark Zuckerberg out there doing jujitsu, just knocking blocks off, okay? Promise you that. He is probably my favorite CEO, okay? Now he's looking all hip and cool, right? You see his uplift, he changed like the way he looked, like before and after Mark Zuckerberg. Like I kind of almost just want to look it up. Before and after Mark Zuckerberg. So I'll just bring this up really quick. But yeah, he went from, yeah, I got one. All right, here we go. So this is what I got pulled up for the before and after Mark Zuckerberg. He went from like this CEO, like, water ain't getting up that thing, to like hip and cool, like, hey, I'm gonna go surfing, and he does. But you know, now he does jiu-jitsu, so he's cool in my book. I'm just gonna say, I don't know. Either way, Meta baby. Meta's looking strong, guys. Meta's looking really good, and it was acting like a leader. What do I mean by it was acting like a leader? Well, when the S&P 500 was really pulling back here, right? When it was really pulling back, you can see Meta held up probably the nicest. When we had all those shifts and everything was changing in the overall S&P 500, this continued to form a beautiful flag or a base breakout here. And I'll be honest with you, what I expected, just like I drew on the last one, is if we take this brush, I would have drew this out for you guys. I would have said this would be my best case scenario, and it would get tighter before breaking out. It didn't do that. No, it took off right here. Okay, and it did it on higher volume. You can see down here at the base. So it looks really, really good, you know, really, really good. Dan Bob, our AI, Dan Bob says that Zuck is a robot. And I'll tell you this, if Dan Bob says it, it's got to be true because he's AI. Zuck is just a robot. So just a new faceplate. Yeah. Yeah, he wakes up and he chooses which jewelry and which faceplate to wear. But yeah, Meta is acting like a leader. I think Meta is absolutely beautiful. And it's continuing to prove itself. It has for quite some time now. And it's very interesting to see what Meta does. You guys remember I did take Meta. I ended up having to sell it just because this was my actual entry where it was supposed to be. And I bought just a little too late. And I used very good risk management, meaning I did not risk a lot. You know, it was like 0.25% of my a 0.25% of my account. So if you guys understand that risk management in any way, it was really pennies on the dollar considering the size of my account, what I was willing to risk. Okay, so I did end up selling this trade because I felt bad for where I had taken it. Now, of course, yes, we all have, you know, trades that, you know, it continues to haunt us. I have plenty of those trades where it continues to haunt me. But the thing is it's just going to be a part of trading. So it is what it is. I wish the best for Meta. If it sets up again, yes, I will get in. But I bunked this trade. I really did. I really beefed this trade. I think Meta can go much, much higher, but because I don't have the proper entry, the proper risk reward on this, I had good risk management, but I didn't have proper risk reward, guys. So I had to get rid of it just because I want to practice what I'm preaching here. Okay. Next up, we have Apple, which is also forming a beautiful flag. Okay. And this isn't the watch list, guys. This is just the Mag 7. Okay. This is just the Mag 7. So if we look at the Mag 7, the Mag 7 is looking bullish. We have bullish pennants, you know, forming. And look at Tesla. Tesla's broken out of this humongous daily pennant and then started to form another, now creating a cup with what could be considered a handle starting to form on this area. So this looks pretty promising, but Tesla really, good old Uncle Tesla, really needs to get its shit together in order for it to continue higher. And then, of course, AMZN, the Amazonianist. This thing is always going to be in our lives, I feel like, at least until I'm gone. But Amazon has created, we just need to look at this on the weekly so we can understand it a little better. It's like this. Let's look at the monthly. Let's look at the monthly. All right, check it out. Let me delete this silly thing. All right, we're going to look at the monthly of Amazon because you guys have to understand, Amazon is enormous. It's enormous. But now look at this. Look how beautiful this is, right? On the monthly, this is a monthly cup and handle, okay? This is a lot of history. This is a lot of people buying and selling this stock, okay? And it all leads up to this area, this month right here, okay? We don't have a ton traded here, but it's getting tight. And if we look at something like this on a monthly time frame, or if we look through William O'Neill's How to Make Money in Stocks, you'll see on a weekly time frame, this is pretty cool. This would look good. On a monthly time frame, if you get into something like this and you want to try and take this breakout, you have to understand if you're going to use or risk the low of that month, you're going to be in this for a little while. You're going to be in this for a little while. And these are the kind of, long story bullish scenarios on certain stocks. And that's just one of them for Amazon. Amazon looks good on the monthly, but it's hard to distinguish much on the weekly. You could see, again, the big cup and handle. Of course, you have to wean your eyes from the Japanese carry trade here. Okay, so the monthly on Amazon is looking amazing. And then, of course, we have Microsoft. Same thing on this monthly. Nice curve, this big cup with handle, and then it takes off. But let's take a look at the daily, because this is what we're used to taking a peeky gander at. And you can see we're just making constantly new higher lows, new lower highs here. All right, but the issue with NVIDIA that I have, and let me just bring it up on this chart, is this right here. It needs to hold the 200-day moving average, right? If anything below a 200-day moving average, Grandma has always said nothing good happens. Nothing good, Grandma said. If it's below a 200-day moving average, Sonny, you don't touch it. And there's reasons for that. Microsoft could collapse underneath this. Now, I don't think it's going to happen. I think the 200-day moving average is going to hold, but it could. It very well could happen. So, this could be a trade of a lifetime, but moving only at 1.6%. Boring. I'd much rather be in a different stock, a different, quicker moving stock. Okay. But overall, the reason why we look at these guys is to have a better understanding of the overall market. We want to have a better understanding of the overall market, because if we don't, then how do we know when to be risk on or risk off, right? You don't want to try to be risk on and start longing trades when the overall market is poopy. It's the worst. And speaking of poopy, only kidding, look at my screen. We got to do this really quick, guys. Smash that like button. I just realized on my screen I was not. So there's 11 of you watching now. I'm going to refresh this. We're going to see where we are at. And goodness gracious, we have 12 with 13 watching. 13 watching. And 15 votes. If you didn't understand the question, it's would you consider the market to be bullish, going up, bearish, going down, or neutral? It's not going up or down. Let me know. I see that we have quite a few of you already voted on that. We'll get back to that in just a second. Okay, so that is my total analysis over the overall market. Now, I want to show you guys some tasty morsels right here, okay? This is going to make your mouth water. It's going to make your watch list sweet, and it's going to make your eyes even sweeter, okay? I don't know if that's a good transition to this, but this is the watch list, people. So pay attention, because I've worked hard on this, and I know a lot of you in Discord have worked hard on this too, and I'm excited to bring this to you. Now, some of these are going to look better than others, but regardless, I think these are all due to throw on your watch list, okay? So I'm going to run through these. I'm going to go through about 10 of them, and then after that, we're going to look at the chat. If you guys have something tasty that you want me to take a little peeky gander at, I will be happy to do that, but it needs to be in the YouTube chat. So throw it in the chat. What's up, Jimmy Bright? It is good to see you, man. It is good to see you. VERI. Why do I like VERI? Well, there's a couple different reasons, but I do really like zooming out on this thing and seeing all of these kind of pennant formations. Well, what makes this one different than the rest of these? Well, if you see, all of these are making new lower lows, where if we continue to scroll here, what I found is something making finally some new lower highs. We're above a 21-day moving average, and it's curling to the north side. So if we zoom out here, we can see this 21-day moving, or to 200-day moving average has never kind of rotated or rolled over and came back up, okay? So if we zoom in here, you can see this is where it kind of leveled out here, and it looks like it could start curling up to the north side. Now, I don't really care about the moving averages so much in this scenario as I do the actual structure of this daily picture. Let me blow this up for you. I like this. I like this beautiful structure where it comes down. It's starting to make these new higher lows where you see this here, this here, this here. These are the three new higher lows, and now it's funneling into this area of a base breakout. So I like the way it looks. Its average daily range is 9.4%. And if we look up VERI on our trading view, you'll see it's got an RS rating of 94. So this meets all of our criteria, guys. So I really like this. No, this isn't the 5-star setup, but this is a beautiful looking trade. It's just an idea. It's definitely something I want to keep on my watch list. And if you guys want to see how it might perform, maybe it runs into this area of resistance, then I'm waiting for it to break out of this $4 area. Maybe it hits it or it clears it and it fails. There's multiple scenarios for this, but mine, for me to play it, would be volume on the 5-minute time frame. We look at the previous days. We make sure it's more volume on that area, and it breaks out through this $4 area, and then bada bing, bada boom, you'll be making money soon, okay? Most of the volume is going to be just below it here in this 340, 350 area. And you can see that because here is the majority of the volume. It's traded in these days here. So between that 250 and 350, that's where the majority of the volume is. So the volume is underneath it. It's ready to make it explode, explosion, okay? And then there's some other stuff that we can look at. Like if we look at VERI on here, we could take some simple, like we'll take some anchored VWAP from the highs here. And you can see, look at this, okay? And I did my analysis without anchoring the VWAP, right? I can see the volume with the regular VWAP, right? The daily VWAP. It kind of gives me a general idea of where the majority of the volume is. And we also could pull an anchored VWAP from this earnings area right here. Bada bing, bada boom. You'll see they line up here, okay? And it's above all of this. So it's another beautiful sign too. You know, this could have been a beautiful early entry if you would have played this more like a trend break right in this area. So we go like this, swoop-de-poop, and then bada bing, bada boom, right? Okay, beautiful. You guys love it. I love it too. Jolene says, if I picked bear, it's just because I was dreaming of Alaska, met bull. No, yeah, I feel you on that. And we are happy you are back from Alaska, but I'm a little jealous of the trip I'm going to have to make my way down, up, west, northwest of there very, very soon. At least that's where it's at on the map. I could be mistaken. Would you consider the market to be bullish? 75% of you say bullish, and I have to line up with those ideas. If you're bearish or neutral, I'd like to know why. Because, you know, I really, really like where we're at right now in the overall market. Until we break the 21-day moving average, I am still bullish, but I do always like to say I'm a bear with bull horns. I'm looking for those signs to get out of the market because I want to be one of the first in and one of the first out, but we got to wait for the market to prove itself first. Next one up is SKE. So the first one was VERI, and then also I have SKE. And I know that a lot of you are watching this SKE. Now, a lot of people you say, or usually will say, you know, 3 legs, you know, 1, 2, and 3. Now, this doesn't have anywhere to go, and it might be true, but I have not really studied just the 3-leg thing, you know, where, you know, maybe that's your thing. You count the 3 legs. Here's 1, 2, 3. Now, is this leg has less of a chance to break out? You know, that's the question. Does it? I don't know, but it's forming a nice trend. It's holding the 21-day moving average. If it breaks out of this area, it might be very interesting, but these would be considered my new lower highs, okay? So that's just something I'm keeping an eye on. Now, I got to say, this RKLB is very, very cool and very, very interesting, and I just got to talk about it because I know that Dan Bob was a part of this trade. Jolene was a part of this trade. You guys played a beautiful base breakout. Absolutely. I mean, cheers to you guys. This one's for you guys. That was absolutely beautiful. And my hat goes off to you guys. I'm very, very proud to be in a chat room with, you know, traders. Not just traders, but traders that are willing to put in the work, willing to learn, willing to understand the criteria. And then you see something like this, and you see the volume come in, and everything lines up, and it's like, hey, we're going to take this trade. And you do it, right? And I'm just, I don't know. This is what I love to see. So congratulations. The reason why I have this on my watch list is because honestly, it's looking like it's starting to set up again. And I was talking with Dan Bob, and we kind of like worked this out like after hours that RKLB, he said, I'm not sure what to do with this. And we kind of just talked and chatted. And in turn, he ended up going with his original plan, right? And what he thinks he should do, not emotionally like, oh, well, I'm up a lot, I should just sell it and then get back in after it sets up. But he even said, I think it's going to set back up. I think it's going to set back. It looks like it's going to set back up. And I have to completely and totally agree with him. I mean, if we just simply drew something out, we could draw something out like this, and then this thing could simply do, and bounce around in this area. Very, very acceptable thing to do, especially on these breakouts like this. Big moves up, they pull back, they create a nice area of consolidation, and then they get tight and take off again. Expansion, contraction, expansion, contraction. That's exactly how these things move. And my hat's off to you guys, and awesome analysis too, Dan Bob, by the way, for continuing to call this out. Also, we have Poet. I should have wore a Poet shirt, but Poet is looking absolutely amazing. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is the 5-star setup that I'm pointing out. I have this in two different areas because I feel like if this comes down and it touches this 10-day moving average one more time, I think I might take a quarter of a position just to kind of keep me honed in and focused on this trade, because I really like how tight this is getting. I like all the wicks on the top and all the wicks on the bottom, where you can see the price action just is getting very, very tight. It's very taut. It moves 12%. So you guys have to understand, when I'm looking at something like this, this isn't just like a buy and forget about, okay? 12% on whatever you put in here is a big deal. So don't just buy 1,000 shares and walk away. That's going to change your account pretty drastically, So make sure whatever you're buying, you understand the risk and the management. And I'm not saying to buy this at all. What I am saying is, for me personally, if this continues to set up and continues to get tight, this is going to provide very, very tight risk management. And I think this could be a very, very key area for me to keep an eye on. Okay, so you guys know what that means. Okay, so these are my areas. These are my alerts. This is what I'm keeping an eye on. And I'm very, very pumped about Poet. This is my 5-star setup. I think it needs to get a couple more days tighter, but I'm ready to keep an eye on it regardless, because this thing could take a nice wild ride. So make sure Poet is on yours. Now, there's a few I wanted to point out because everybody wants to talk about this damn NEO, okay? Now, there's been a flood of people talking about NEO, diehard fans, people that don't want to admit that they are so head over heels for this piece of shit stock because they have so much money in it that they don't know what to do except for root for it, right? But now is the only time that they can really step in and say, hey, take a look at NEO, and I can't say, hey, well, it's a piece of shit stock, right? If we're looking at NEO right here, we can see we're finally above a 200-day moving average. Not only that, but we have volume on this push up, and it's creating new higher lows. So we can actually keep an eye on NEO. I kind of put this more on as a joke, but honestly, guys, it doesn't matter what I think. It doesn't matter what you think. It only matters what happens with the market. And if I continue to see increased volume with new higher lows that is following a 10-day moving average, I can't ignore what the market's telling me. This is China. This is Chinese stocks. NEO, BABA, PDD. Look at all these stocks. China is in play, and we told you that China was in play the second they lowered those interest rates. They lowered them very drastically, and that just increased China's humongous boom. NEO needs USA chips, and they are banned at the moment. Yes, but they're doing things to work their way around it too. But regardless, you can see NEO is just part of the bandwagon of the Chinese sector. Now remember, Chinese sector always comes with more inherent risk, but we need to know what's moving in the market, okay? So I'm just keeping this on my watch list to keep an eye on it. If it gives me an undeniable trade, I will take it. But because of that inherited risk of it being Chinese stock, we can't trust it nearly as much. We have LUMN. This is one I thought was very interesting. I was really curious on your thoughts here. Do we have B. Stewie with us? I didn't see him pop in here. I'd love his opinion on the. Oh, he is here. I see him. There you are, brother. Sorry, I missed you there, B. Stewie. I'm curious what you think on this, B. Stewie and Dan Bob. What do you guys think about this stock? We get a big push up here. It pulls back. It follows a 10-day moving average. It breaks through, kind of holds the 21-day and the 10-day. And now it's getting really, really tight. So what I see here is this trend, right? This is kind of how I'm seeing it. I'm seeing a trend here, and if it breaks above this area, better risk reward. But I don't know. What do you guys think? I think B. Stewie, did you have this on your? I think you had this on your watch list as well. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about LUMN, because I like it. We also have Dan Bob says he likes it. B. Stewie, wake up! Tell me what you need. Tell me what you want. GCI. So I came across this one in our scanner and quite a few of these other ones. But I really like GCI. So what I don't care for is this huge drop off right here. That doesn't make so much sense to me, and I don't like playing trades that I don't like that don't make sense. But this makes sense to me. You know, this makes sense to me. I do like this. And if we just looked at this and didn't look at its ugly history, you know, there's so many jokes that I could attach to that. And we just look at this, right? I like that. I think that's a nice bullish characteristic. And I'm just going to set an alert on that because alerts are free, you know. And then, of course, we have COMM. Now, this is turning out to be a really tasty looking trade for me. Of course, I think it needs a couple more days to get tighter before breaking out. Just a couple more tight days to kind of show me that there's proper price action in that area. And I think COMM might have a chance to really take off. That's ticker COMM. I really like it. So, now we already brought this up, and I'm going to bring it up one more time. NVIDIA is on my watch list for very good reason. It's setting up a beautiful trade here. And I look at NVIDIA and I say, well, if it breaks out here, am I going to take the trade? Yes, I am going to take the trade. You can take the trade on the ETF that I think it's a 3X bull, NVDL, I think it is, NVDL. Yeah, this is it. So this is NVIDIA long. So I think this is a 3X or a 2X. You can take on NVDL and move 7.6%. Okay, so I think that's the 3X NVIDIA. Okay. And yes, we will go over comms on your list too, Jolene. Hell yeah. That's what I'm talking about. I got a couple more I want to go over, guys, and then we'll go over whatever you guys have in chat. So I have 3 more that I want to go over, and then I want you guys to just flood the chat with whatever the hell you want me to talk about, whether it's a ticker or if there's anything else, any questions you guys have, and we'll go over it real quick. But I got 3 more I want to show to you, and then we'll even look up the ticker, Dave, like you brought up. All right, so now's the time. If you don't put anything in the chat, that's fine too. You know, I'm totally cool with that. Makes my life a little easier. But we got 3 more. We're going to go through your tickers, and then, yeah, we'll see what we got. So this next one's EXAS. I liked its formation. I don't really care. I mean, overall, it's just kind of just trading sideways. It's not like there's no real, like, you know, sauce in this, you know. I just like the way this was forming, but I think there's better stocks out there. This one I thought was really, really cool. So this is MSTR, and if you guys don't understand MSTR, they have invested big time. I believe it's a chip maker. Actually, let me see what they actually are. MSTR. So they're technology service and internet software service. But here's the thing. Their CEO has basically invested the majority of their company into Bitcoin. So if we look at Bitcoin and we see that Bitcoin's in this channel and it's kind of creating new higher lows now, and like I said, I think it has an opportunity to kind of start breaking out here. If it does, I can guarantee you MSTR is really going to start taking off, you know, because it's stuck in this channel. Of course, this channel looks a little different because we have more of a straight channel rather than Bitcoin's kind of declining channel, okay? But this thing, if it breaks out from here, I can almost assure you Bitcoin is probably doing something relatively positive in that realm. So it's definitely one to keep an eye on. And we have NEE. So this I'm just keeping an eye on. I'm only just keeping an eye on this because I know that B. Stewie is in this. This was, this was his price analysis. This was his trade, and he really liked this base right here, and got into this thing. And I really like it. I really like it. I wanted to really believe in the NNE story here, and once I was out of it and it gave all of it back up, I just kind of like lost touch with NNE. I do hope the best for the stock. I really think nuclear energy can be a huge, huge part of our future, but we will see very, very soon. Okay, guys, we're gonna go over your tickers really quick, but before we do, I'm just gonna bring this up because we're gonna end the poll here. The question was, we have 17 votes. That's absolutely awesome. So the question was here, would you consider the market to be bullish, bearish, or neutral? And 71% of you said bullish, and I'm going to have to agree with you on that. I also think it's bullish as well. If you think it's bearish, I want you to put me in the comment section why you think it's bearish. And whatever reason is totally right. I'm not going to argue with you because if you think it's bearish, it's your own opinion. You're entitled to it, but you're wrong. No, I'm just kidding. And 18% of you said that you're neutral. If you have any explanation why you think you should be neutral, just let me know in the chat. I always want to have kind of like an opposite biasy of the way I'm thinking, just so I can see both sides of the stories. So we just ended that poll. So yeah, 70% bullish, and I have to agree with you on that. I like to be bullish there. Make sure you smash that like, and if you've been watching me for a little bit and you know what I do here, it's absolutely free. Everything's absolutely free, and all I ask is for you to hit that like and that subscribe button. And if you guys want to learn how to be a part of our Discord, just go down to the bottom of this page. Click the More button. We have a link tree there. You can get to our Discord from that. The only thing we require is an open mind and a golden heart, and you can join our family. We absolutely love teaching one another. We don't spoon feed. We will teach you what you need to know if you ask the right questions. But if you're just asking, what are the right tickers, or where do I get in, where do I get out, we're gonna know that you're not willing and wanting to learn. So we are a learning community. Everything is free, but we do want the workers. We want the people that are coming in here to really learn, that really want to work hard. And if that sounds good to you, join up. It's absolutely free. Dan Bob says, thank you all for joining us tonight. We will see you Wednesday in Discord. And that is absolutely true. Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. And Discord, yes, Wednesday Discord is going to be absolutely lit. I'm pumped for that. It's kind of nice being able to have kind of everybody together, and it's kind of more of a relax. It's not like a live, like in your face, boisterous kind of way. We just sit back, relax, have a little bit of fun. Okay, guys, so we are going to look at Dave. This is one of the stocks that some of you were bringing up, and Dave right here, you can see has this huge base form. Now, you could call this a head and shoulders pattern here that kind of seen through to it. This is a big area of support. The 200-day moving average is on an incline. It's just kind of trading sideways after a huge move here. It's digesting. I don't know what Dave is. I could care less. The chart looks like it's actually being healthy, performing new higher lows here, and now forming this base. If it breaks through, I mean, if you got proper risk reward here, maybe using previous day's low, or you can even go on the weekly since it trades sideways for so damn long. You can look at this and you can say, what's the most logical area? You could say this weekly low right here at $38, or you could even go as far as saying that if you're going to do more of a longer term style. So I like that. I do like the look of Dave. Let's take a look at MU, I think was in the chat. Let's see here. MU, yeah. So MU's Micron, and the issue with Micron is there's so many other better stocks to look at, okay? And I'm not even talking down, Smaid. When I look at MU, first of all, it's below a 200-day moving average, so I don't really care for it. But if you did like Micron, if you do like the chip sector, I have to point out to you, like this one here is not the leader in the chip sector. We can look at a few other ones, like if we looked at NVDA, that's in the chip sector. That looks like it's leading, right? If we looked at SMH, we want to see characteristics of the ETF in our leader. If you don't, and it's just creating new all-time highs, that means it's leading the leaders, right? So SMH, if we look at SMH and then we go back to MU, you can see MU is just on a downtrend here. You know, it just got above its 50-day moving average, but it still has some work to do over this 200. So I don't like the way this is looking right now, although they did have a nice pop on their earnings, so that's good to see. We just need to see some more new higher lows. So we have a low right here, okay? Here's a new higher low that it's formed, but we needed to make one more new higher low. Even if it's right here in this same area, it needs to come up and come back down and prove that this area right here would be an area of now support rather than resistance. Because if you look at this, you can see this is an area of resistance. Even when it popped up into this area, it failed here. So it needs to get through this area, come back down, and then act as support before it would be really a good dish. Okay, that's just my opinion though. You know, I could be completely wrong. Let's see. So we have Erica K, OLPX. Let's take a little peeky gander at this. So it looks like we've been looking at this one before because it created this trend break right here. Now it looks like it's getting really tight. So yeah, I like this find. One thing I much rather see here is a big push up here on volume. We're not really getting a big push up on volume and then a pullback. We're just getting we're getting a big push up on the price, but not on the volume. And then it's pulling back on what appears to be really high volume. So it's very interesting the way it's moving. I don't really trust it, but I will say it's a very good pick because it is making new higher lows. It is above all of its moving averages, and it's using a moving average, and it's starting to get tight. So I understand why this looks good. But what it's missing is that big characteristic. In any of these movers, there's no real volume pushing this up to the north side. Now, I don't want to deter you from this if you like this stock, you know, and you find proper risk management in it. You know, you should do whatever your plan is. But to me, when I look at something like this, I'm looking, where's the volume? Because there's still no volume in this stock. It looks good. It does. It looks good here, but I just don't see the volume. What else we got? B. Stewie says, don't forget to smash that like button. That's what I'm talking about, B. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Well, guys, if that's all the tickers you got, just remember we have plenty on mine. VERISKE, RKLB, Poet, NEO, LUMN, COMM, NVIDIA, definitely. And we're going to keep an eye on a few others. And we have a few other unhonorable mentions, but as they pop up in my watch list, as I always do in the Discord, when I have time, I shout them out for everybody else to see. The only two other things I'm watching, guys, or that I own is PLTR and VRNA. You can see why I took these. You can see where my stop loss is. PLTR is rip roaring. It's going much, much higher. We got a nice little tasty treat down here at $36.73, and it's already up over $40. And VRNA, I actually called this out in the chat. I took this on a trend break right here, and when it broke that trend, we were rip tater chipping to the north side. And I'm just going to hold on to this until it breaks or closes below probably this 30-day moving average. I want to give it as much time as I can. The more time I'm in a stock, the more money I make. So it's really, really good to see. Michael Anthony, what's going on? Glad you popped in here. What do you think about HPE and AMBR? So HPE, Hewlett Packard, well, it's actually, it's got a nice changing characteristic here. There is a lot of volatility happening in this area, and that can be good or bad for the overall stock. But if we look at just the way it's moving, and we come off these bottoms, you can see it's on a trend moving higher, right? It's trending up to the north side. So that's a very good sign for this stock. And you can see volume is starting to come in for the stock too. So it looks like they got something going on here. It's not really forming a base or a trend breakout, and it's also a very slow mover. But if you were looking at stocks, you know, this is coming to an area of resistance. So maybe you wait for it to form, you know, whatever you're looking for, and you know, keep it on your watch list. These trends, this was a decent base right here you could have played. I'm trying to see if this actually has anything that I would have played on it, but I'm not really seeing anything. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it looks good. I don't think it's a leader, but I think it looks good. What's going on, Swervo? What's up, brother? It's good to see you. Good to see you, man. You want me to take a look at AMBP? AMBP. All right, this is AMBP. So when I look at this thing, if I look at the overall trend of this thing, you can just see it's down, right? It's just down trending. I mean, I could draw this anywhere, I guess. We're still just kind of like riding above that 21-day moving average. I'm not seeing any volume come in here, down here, like at all. So I don't really care for that. Not the best, you know. Kramer said Friday that HPE having some type of meeting Wednesday. Oh yeah, there's always going to be some news, especially around these big hype factories like these Hewlett Packards and NVIDIAs and Apples and all the the Dells, the tech giants and stuff like that. They're always going to have some kind of meeting or a pep rally or some big change, and they got to do this. They got to do this to keep their platform interesting and out there. But yeah. AMBP, I don't really care for this stock. It's just downtrending, big downtrend, no volume down here showing. So we want to stick to high volume, things that are setting up, things that are showing volume, good price action, getting tight. And there's a lot of those happening right now. So I hope you guys can take a little peek into that. GMTA. Oh man, I hope that I wasn't supposed to look at that. I wasn't supposed to look at GMTA. But anyway, guys, I'm going to call it a night. So keep an eye on NVIDIA. Definitely, I think that can continue to be a leader in the overall market using NVDL as our mover. And then, of course, VERI, I thought was a very, very nice one to keep on your watch list. And what was my 5-star banger that I was looking at? That's right, Poet. POET. You heard it here first, guys. I really think that it could do a very, very good job breaking out from this area. We got Andre Waite just joining live. What stock are a cheap buy, if you will? That's a great question, man. You're gonna want to rewind this and watch the whole thing from start till finish, man. And if you enjoy this kind of work that we have here, we are swing traders, we are momentum traders. We have plenty of resources for you to learn, and it's all absolutely free. So make sure you hit that like and hit that subscribe button. And as you guys know, I usher you out every single time. So when this video ends, I'm going to say my goodbyes. If you put anything at all in the chat, I will say my goodbyes to you. But I appreciate you guys letting me be here. I appreciate you guys showing up and working your butts off on the free stock list that we put out in our Discord. I hope you guys have an awesome night. And remember, never give up. This is hard, but you can make it fun. Don't ever give up. Don't ever give up, guys. I hope you guys have a good night. Peace. All right. What do we have here? Jolene, sweet Jolene. Thank you so much for being here, Jolene. I appreciate you. Andre Waite, you made it. You made it, brother, just in time, just as I was leaving. I hope you have a great night, brother. Dan Bob Dan, the greatest moderator live, has now put our link tree up in the convo. Take a look at the comment section and click on that link tree. You can find us on all platforms right there. Jimmy Bright, good night, guys. Good night, you, sir. I appreciate you being here, Jimmy. Michael Anthony, thank you so much for stopping in and saying hello. I bid you a good day, sir. Erica K, thank you so much for being a part of the show as always. Huge thanks to you, Smaid. I hope you're still here, and I hope you had a great show. Really appreciate you. Jolene also bringing in, really liking COMM. I appreciate that too. Anytime that I'm looking at something, I really want to know your thoughts, guys, because, we really work hard on these watch lists, and everybody's in here, so appreciate the feedback on that. Jolene, not Jolene, Zamora. How many times am I going to say Jolene's name? We're going to have to make a ticker, a Jolene ticker. Zamora, good to see you. I'm glad you're watching it too. Robert Tainch in the building, baby. Appreciate you being here, man, and always supporting me. And Yosef was first in the chat today, so Yosef wins. And B Stewie, thanks, Dave. Good night, squad. Good night to you, sir. I hope you guys have an awesome night, and I appreciate each and every one of you. Peace.
في أكثر